Hello, everyone. This is Will.
This is Alex.
Welcome back to another episode of They Mostly Come Out at Night.
Mostly.
Well, before we get into what is most likely going to be another short review, please go to all of our socials, follow, like, subscribe, comment, suggest movies we should watch, join the community, be a team coner,
Yeah.
you know, just join our little community. It's a small, but it's a good community,
Yeah, we appreciate it.
our ever-growing community.
Yeah, we appreciate all of you.
Yeah, we really do, especially the people that suggest other things. I mean, no one suggested this, but wow.
Yeah, what's wrong? Yeah, get on the level.
Yeah.
Suggest this.
Start suggesting things like this. I mean, maybe don't, because I think if I had to watch stuff like this over and over and over and over, I think I might go insane myself. But
That's the idea.
because this feels like someone's fucked up fever dream.
Yeah, people talk about dream logic. More like nightmare logic.
Yeah, for real. Like this, wow. I don't know what to say. Like, we watched Death Warmed Up.
Uh-huh.
Shout out. I think it is one of our first, if not the first, New Zealand feature.
No, it's 100% the first New Zealand film.
We don't get to watch a lot of films from New Zealand.
Not yet.
Not yet. We'll probably get to them, but this is the first one that's featured on the podcast so far. I love New Zealand. I've traveled there once in my life, and it was fucking incredible.
You may not know this, but Will is a nerd.
I mean,
And
yeah,
Will
if I want to explain why I went to New Zealand.
Lord of the Rings.
Yes, it was for a Lord of the Rings tour, okay?
That little franchise.
It was a 14-day Lord of the Rings tour, and it was fucking incredible.
That little known franchise.
Also filmed in New Zealand. I know.
Wow, I can't.
The little tiny unknown franchise. No one knows it was filmed in New Zealand.
Nope, no one knows that.
They
at
didn't
all.
make it a big feature of the fucking movie.
Well, little do you know, there was a bigger film made in New Zealand called Death Warmed Up.
Death Warmed Up. Yep, that's what we watched tonight. And wow. Directed by David Blythe.
This was insane.
This was fucking nuts, and virtually no plot.
This is so basic and like base level. There's no depth. There's no character growth.
No.
And it's funny saying all this because I did enjoy this.
I did too, but like
It's
for
funny.
I enjoyed it for like weird reasons, not because it's like a well-made movie.
This is pure style over substance. There's no substance in this.
No, 100%, absolutely not. There's it's all style. It's just 100% vibes. That's why this man, David Blythe, was like, plot, okay, I guess to maybe string along so there's something happening in the movie,
Yeah.
sure, but I'm just going to mostly go off of vibes.
Which works because, I mean, it could have been like our last movie,
Oh,
which
Rattlers.
tried to have plot, I guess. It could have been like that, but instead it's like the total opposite where it's just...
Well, see, the thing with Rattlers is there was no substance,
There's no
but there was
style.
also no style. At least in this, there's zero substance, but lots of style.
Yep.
Like there's very little happening, and the plot could be explained in like a brief paragraph.
That's
But like that's sometimes all you need. Okay?
That's all I needed.
It's like those action movies. Like you just need barely enough of a plot to get everything in. Like to have like the protagonist go after the antagonist. That's all you need.
That's it.
Start movie.
That's it.
It's like John Wick concept. Like a guy's dog dies. Start movie.
Yeah. Start film.
Like that's essentially. I mean, obviously not the same plot, but essentially that's what happens in this because a guy gets experimented on, goes on a plot for revenge, start movie.
But see, you say that, and you drop the John Wick comparison in there, except this is even simpler than that.
That's true. Because I just kind of explained it.
No. I mean...
like a mad scientist experiments on a kid. He goes to get revenge. That's it.
That's the thing. Yeah.
That is literally the entire movie.
Yep.
But there is so much insanity happening around that has nothing to do with the plot.
Technically, it does. I mean, it all happens because of the mad
It has to do with the
scientists.
plot, but like, there's nothing that like drives these characters. There's no character development. There's nothing. Nothing like really of substance happens,
and that's fine.
There's no like
have it.
quick like. There's like maybe a few story beats, but that's about it.
Oh, okay. Story beats.
Well, I mean, he's experimenting, and
a man's van gets peed on. That is the story beat.
Yeah. Well, and the same guy releases zombies. That's it. That's the story beat.
They're like, they're kind of zombies, but kind of not.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I wouldn't really call this a zombie movie because they're cognizant.
Well, they were like alive to begin with, but it's like
because
it's based in the present day, but it's kind of futuristic.
I think you're looking too deep into it. I think the reason the movie looks the way it does is because they thought it looked cool.
And it does. I'm not gonna lie, it does look cool.
Because everything.
If you're into the '80s aesthetic, this is like '80s as fuck.
Yeah, there's like neon lights. There's like this evil mad doctor's like lab, and everything is like, it's all like that minimalist like.
All the evil goons wear these like jumpsuits with like leather and like fucking like armor plating and stuff.
They look like they're from like Mad Max.
Yeah. They look
like punk rockers from Mad Max.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts.
Again, everything is 100% dedicated to the aesthetic. But they're like...
So I guess we'll jump into what happens. It's going to be kind of a short review. That's why we're probably talking a lot about it. But, so we get a kid just running for... I don't know. It doesn't...
Let's talk to his dad.
It does, well, yeah, but about what?
I don't know. What do you talk to your dad about? Does it matter?
I don't know.
Does it matter?
So he goes into a building. He finds his dad being roughed up by like a doctor guy.
Because they're both working on this experiment for immortality, about extending like someone's lifespan. And his dad thinks it's going too far, but the other scientist thinks his dad's a wimp. Basically.
Yeah, so...
But he hears all this. He sees all this.
The kid hides, and the scientist, like, comes by and has this weird dialogue with him. It's like...
He's like, you're all sweaty.
It's kind of, like, homoerotic in a way. It's weird, because they're all, like, staring at each other and everything for, like, very long periods of time. And it's very awkward. And then he's like, "You're all sweaty. You need to take a shower." And then like,
but there's a purpose to this.
Well, yeah, there is a purpose, but I'm just saying like it's oddly like homoerotic, like for no reason.
Oh, there's a reason. Aesthetic. It's
so
part of the aesthetic.
We get the guy showering naked, and the doctor takes this comically large syringe,
gets a bunch of
extracts some liquid. And then injects this kid's like ass
with it
with a bunch of shit.
Yeah, and does he operate on him?
No,
we don't see that. Do we?
No,
okay.
We don't see that because the next scene is they're in the car, and the kid is like going like cross-eyed and like
he's going crazy.
He eventually like snaps out of it, but he's like a zombie.
He's not himself.
So I would say, okay, so if you're familiar with like the old school zombies, like it's kind of like along those same lines where it's like a servant or like a slave zombie instead of like an undead zombie.
Yeah, but even then they're still like unthinking kind of.
Well, but they do like whatever their master bids of them. That's basically like like the old school zombies before like George Miller's zombies.
George Romero, sorry,
Miller. Wow. Sorry.
How dare you?
I was thinking... Sorry. I'm thinking of an Aussie director for some reason.
Sir, if you
anyway, sorry, George Romero.
Listen, sir. If you want to talk about the OG zombies,
you need to know the director's name.
You need to know about the OG zombies that came out of Haiti.
Yes,
like white
that's
zombie.
what I'm talking about.
But they are undead. The Haitian ones are undead.
Yeah, but they weren't. I know, but like it wasn't.
They're like voodoo.
It wasn't like the
They have a master.
Yeah, they have a master and they do their bidding. Master. But they're still
They're more cognizant
than fucking like the brain-eating zombies we get today, So I'm just trying to explain.
This is a zombie history
motherfucker.
podcast.
I'm just trying to explain that that's kind of what I think they were going for.
I don't think they gave a shit.
I don't think they did either, but it's kind of like that zombie because there's no like brain eating in this.
No, and they're not even technically super.
They're not undead. Okay, I get it. Yeah.
We'll also get there, but they also at some point don't even follow their master.
That's true. They just fucking cause chaos.
The goon squad.
They're fucking like havoc incarnate, just fucking going everywhere, just fucking causing a ruckus and killing literally everyone.
They're punk rock zombies, Will.
It's great.
But yeah, no, he well, so as he's like driving him somewhere, his dad and his mom are at home. And they're watching this guy being interviewed on TV, like the Mad Doctor.
Yeah, and he's
again talking about.
Well, he's saying like immortality and brain waves and how he thinks he can crack the code, basically. And the kid shows up at home while the parents are about to have sex, and the kid like sneaks around the house and pulls out a shotgun and goes in the house and kills both his parents.
Kills both of them and. Then it's like we get it's like a crime scene photographer taking pictures of the dead bodies, and then the kid gets put into a mental asylum
for 7 years.
I'm innocent, and then we get
we know it's 7 years because there's a time skip and some text on the screen
that says that he's there for 7 years and that
the doctor like progressed enough to like have his own facility on an island, like his own island basically, and so.
And
if it sounds wild, it is, okay? Like,
mind you, by everything that we describe,
this mad scientist literally has his own fucking evil island.
And mind you, everything we describe is shot in like just absolutely like gorgeous fucking cinematography.
We will take a pause for the fucking cinematography here. It is fucking incredible.
It's
like,
beautiful.
The camera work, goddamn. They spent a lot of time on this camera work, and it shows. Like, the fucking scenery is beautiful, and the fucking, like, they have all these, like, weird tracking shots that are really well done. They have, like, these, boots on the ground, like, kind of, like, shots, but they, like, go around the actor, and they'll go around, like...
The camera's always
the scenery.
moving.
They just eat up the scenery and, like, everything going around, and you just, like... It's really appealing to watch.
And
I like it a lot.
And once it gets more insane, like the camera work is just it's beautiful.
Well, and I would say the effects are good too. I will say because it gets very violent at the end, and like even like when the kid shoots his parents, the squibs just go crazy. Like there's fucking blood everywhere.
Great.
Like people get their throats slit and there's fucking blood gushing like it's a fucking samurai movie.
Yeah, there's like you see like the guy operating on people's brains, and you see like he like removes their skull, and there's like the brain pumping.
And he like plays around with it like at a certain point. It's fucking beautiful. Crazy. It's good though. It's really well done. Like they didn't have to go that ham, but they did, and I fucking love it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, now it's 7 years later.
So they're on a ferry, and it's the dude and his friends hanging out. They're going to this island because they want to explore a World War II tunnel.
That's what he tells them, but of course,
we know. It's a revenge plot. He's going to kill the scientist, but he tells all his friends there's like this World War II tunnel.
Because there's like he asks like the ferryman like, "Oh, do you know Dr. Howell?" He's like, "Yeah, great guy." And then he also tells them like, "Oh, I wouldn't go in those tunnels if I were you."
Yeah.
But of course we know they will go in those tunnels.
Right, exactly. Well, I mean, of course.
But then while they're like hanging out, there is this like yellow like bus kind of.
and two guys sitting in
it. Because like his two friends are basically like in the car, like fucking.
Yep.
And they're like fucking going like goo goo gaga over it. And then there's like another guy.
And there's another guy that walks up to the car while the two kids are having like the two like friends are having sex.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You got your tickets, eh?"
Yeah.
And then the fucking ferryman pulls him into the boat and is like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
I told you not to bother the customer.
And then he starts like keeling over and vomiting like
the other thing is
foam.
The guy who like does that is like he has like a hunchback. He has like a gash across his face. So you know, like
when he starts vomiting white foam, the ferryman's like, "We're almost there. Like just wait a second."
Hang in there. And then
while that's happening,
there's also we see the two guys because eventually like our main character and his friends are like, there's something weird going on here, which is the understatement of the century for this movie. And they go and they just like look at this van
and they start peeing on it,
and one of them pisses on it, and then the two guys get out and we see that they're also like fucked up looking.
Yeah, one has like hair missing and fucking weird fucked up a fucked up face and like oddly like really weirdly green eyes and shit.
Yeah, he's wearing like, I mean, they probably just made the actor wear like very painfully uncomfortable contacts, but yeah. And they start fighting. They fight. They get to land.
And they start getting kind of chased by the yellow van, but the van pulls off.
And we see like every time it shows like a POV from in the van, we hear like someone like writhing in pain. And
then we also get POVs of the four people driving to the like caves.
Well, first they go to
the
beach.
Well, remember one of them gets weird vibes and is like, there's something here. I don't know what it is. And like, and then the yellow van tries to run them off the road, but then gets into a ditch, and that's when they go to the beach.
And then I know we get a scene of the guy who was like convulsing and throwing up. He is in the hospital.
Yeah.
And he's in like a fucking like waiting room, and there's all these like nurses just kind of like smirking as he's like suffering. And
then these two doctors come in, they throw him on a gurney.
And then they throw him on a gurney, they restrain him, and then like the Dr. Howell, our evil mad scientist man, walks up to him.
He's like, "You're my best success story."
No, you're my first
success story. Yeah, that's right. And his like brain is like pulsating.
And then eventually, I mean, Dr. Howell basically tells him to suck a dick.
Well, I like how he's like dispose of him, and he's like, he's not dead yet though.
And then
his brain explodes.
His brain just explodes, and he's dead.
He's dead.
And
we do also get a scene of the doctor doing the brain surgery, and there's like blood splattering all over the nurses and shit like that.
We also get a scene of, again, just this has just even try to make sense of this. They get to this like town, and they're like, "This is weird. This place is weird."
Shout out! I think it's Auckland, if I'm not mistaken. I kind of recognize.
I don't know about the little town. I mean, I guarantee you the hospital is probably in Auckland, but it's like a small town, and there's like one little like convenience store, and the main doctor like goes in there to get something, and the clerk like goes in the back. Something happens. We hear like some weird wiggity noise, and he's just like, oh. And then the doctor's like, "Fuck this," and they just leave.
Yeah.
One of them grabs like a candy bar on his way out.
So then we.
The only thing I can make sense of this scene is that it's just a whole town full of like people who've had their brains fucked with.
Yeah. Well, or know that it's going on.
Yeah.
And then we get a scene of the four like our four main people going into the World War II tunnels.
Yep.
And they start going in, and then so they're like walking around with flashlights, just shining them everywhere. And then something happens and like a bunch of like red alerts start going on.
No, don't no.
Oh, sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
They get split up.
Yeah, they get split up. So
and,
the woman's like looking,
and they find a tunnel that just ends. It's like a dead end, and there's a wall, and there's like blue light shining from the top. And they're like, "Okay, guys, come on, stop messing around." They keep saying that, and then
and then the fucking guys whose brain exploded just like
they drop him down on a noose, and they see him and his exploded brain, and then they freak out, and then the red lights just go.
Well, we also get a scene of the guy in the yellow van. They finally get to the facility.
Yeah,
and they try and kill the. Oh no, not yet. No, sorry.
You are jumping ahead, sir.
I'm sorry. I do apologize. You're right. So all this red starts going off, and then two guys on motorcycles start chasing them through the tunnels.
We get like insane like POV shots and all sorts of crazy shit. They chase all four of them around.
Well, they're going upstairs and fucking blue and red lights everywhere, just fucking fog and shit.
Then eventually they hit one of the girls like really hard on the head,
and she slams into the wall. And they're trying to find a way out, so they find a ladder eventually, and they all start going up it. And then one of the guys is like, "No, I'm gonna like end this.
I'm gonna get him for this."
And so he takes a brick with like a rebar,
piece of rebar sticking out of it,
and he like drags it to the middle of this thing and puts like a few blocks. And he's like, "Hey, over here!
Come here, you fucker!" And then they start riding towards him, because the reason he put one of the blocks in front, and then he runs out of the way, and the guy he hits the block with his motorcycle and flies off and flies right into the rebar.
Just impales himself on this fucking rebar.
And one of my favorite bits is the other guy gets off. He's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And then he trips on the fucking brick and he smacks into his friend, and his friend gets impaled even further.
Stabs him further into the fucking rebar.
And then he takes him, and this is when he takes him to the hospital.
Right. Okay. So yeah, it's the two goons from the yellow van, and he takes him into the hospital. And the doctor's like, dispose of them.
No, yeah, he's like, "You gotta help him, you gotta help him." The guy's like, "No, dispose of him." And he just
so they kill the one.
He takes him and shoves him into his friend's guts that are just laying out there,
exposed.
And then the guy is about to quote unquote dispose of him with his fucking futuristic.
Well, he
cow
presses
prod.
the trigger and a bunch of smoke comes up and nothing happens.
Well, he presses it against him. And it smokes and lights and stuff, but he's impervious to it. And
so he kills that guy, grabs his gun, and then we just see a security dude just sitting on this little metal chair
in front of a gate, like a blast door.
A bunch of fucking smoke just blasting.
Yellow smoke.
This lab, there is just pipes blasting smoke everywhere.
No, it looks like someone's nightmare.
It looks like. Have you ever watched if you've watched the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, it kind of looks like the nightmare sequences where it's just steam and weird shit happening all over the place.
Or it looks like a level out of one of the first Resident Evil games.
Yeah, or Silent Hill.
Yeah, and it's just, but he's just sitting in front of this thing, and I was just joking, this looks like a very fun place to work.
Yeah, because he's he looks so bored.
Everything in this hospital just looks like a fucking nightmare. And yeah, but the guy
So the guy sneaks up behind him, snaps his neck, and then opens this fucking door.
And it's just a bunch of big goons.
It's the goon squad.
Yeah, and it's the evil zombie goon squad, I guess.
Well, and they're all just
He's let's go.
They're wearing the same thing, and they have these weird green eyes.
They're all
shit.
bald. Yeah, he's like, "Let's go." And they go, and
we don't know what's happening with them. Because it jumps to the people in the car.
They go to a pub.
Well, remember, they're trying to drive away, and the one woman's like, "We need to get her to the doctor now. She's dying."
No, that place, you do not want to go to that hospital.
So after some convincing, finally she convinces him to turn around, and they go to the pub.
They go to a pub, and they make a phone call to this hospital where
there's red alerts everywhere.
And the guy's like, "We had an escape." And I love when they say that, because there's the bartender there, and he's watching them on the phone, and they're like, "Who's escape? What?" And the bartender's like, "Oh shit!"
He's like,
"Again?"
He's like, "Not again."
And then they're like, "Well, where are you guys? We'll try to get you." And so they tell him, And then eventually, like, we see like the fucking goon drive up there in his goon bus, and then he rips the power cords out of the building
and unleashes the fucking zombie things.
Yeah, the bartender's like, those guys are really bad.
Yeah,
like,
and as soon as he says that, they like burst through the window.
They start throwing rocks through the window,
and they like grab the bartender and like kind of like try and like struggle him out of the bar. He gets away.
Also, the girl who was like injured in the head, she's still stuck in the car, and they're all like jumping all over the car. Like,
well, I love at one point like everything ceases, right? And like the bartender's like, I'm gonna go check outside.
I'm gonna go.
I'm like, what?
I gotta go.
Why the fuck would you?
Vibes. Will.
So he opens the door slowly and starts walking out, and then he gets like mostly out of like into the street, and then just a fucking
because he's like talking, and he's like, "Come on, guys, like calm down. You gotta do this. Calm down." Then a bottle smashes him in the face,
and he dies. And so they like the thing rushes the door. They close the door, lock it, and then the ambulance shows up
with the big zappers, and they zap all of them. And then they take our people, and they're like, "You're coming with us." And then they lock them in the ambulance, and they like do a handshake, like, ha,
"Yeah, got him.
We got more." And they start driving, and again, the whole time it's just the movie is going fucking bananas, because it's just like a cacophony of people fucking screaming, of lights, of crazy camera angles. Like the whole time, I'm just sitting there like, it's like someone's nightmare being beamed into my eyeballs.
Now, keep in mind, this movie is an hour and 18 minutes.
Yes.
And at this point, we have about 20 minutes left in the movie.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because this is when the point in the movie when, you know, you're taking our main dude and he's going closer to the evil dude.
He's finally where he needs to be.
And they get to the hospital, and immediately the fucking goon squad
just escapes and
we just see them running out of the ambulance, and we just like get this tracking shot of like following them, and as it's following them, we see like the ambulance drivers getting like their guts ripped out.
One of them's like has his like throat slit.
It's just like and they run through this fucking hospital, and there's just carnage. Like there's a dude like with his throat slit, just like, help me, and then there's like
there's a nurse with like scissors stuck into her side.
And there's a guy like running around just like breaking shit. Like,
when I love it, they finally get to like this waiting area, and they put like the girl who has the head injury on the sofa, and they start looking for meds, and the guy's like, I gotta go. And like, and the girl's like, "What are you doing?" Like,
I gotta handle.
He's like, I gotta handle this. I gotta handle this shit.
And then he leaves. And he gets like a knife, and he like walks down this hallway and gets bonked on the head.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, they give meds to the girl.
Right. They inject her with something. They say she'll be all right. They start getting attacked, so they go into another room.
So the guy puts her in a room with giant.
This is like
tubes.
I think this is my favorite scene of the entire movie.
There's this room has gigantic like tubes marked with radiation on it, and yeah, he locks her in there, and she immediately is like freaking out, and then like you see her like looking at this like cabinet of radioactive material, and we see some fucking like face
like shifting through, and like it finally reveals itself, and it's like this fucked up like guy.
Monster
his eyes
face.
are like melted in, and he has this like horrific face, and she's like throwing and there's like a radiator for no fucking reason. You
gotta keep
like,
the room
like
warm.
A fucking heater there.
Yeah, it's gotta be warm. Will.
So she sees that, and she takes this chemical and just throws it at it, and like lights this guy on fire.
See, I can give you a 90% guarantee, Will, that she didn't purposefully.
Well, she didn't. Yeah, but she
throw it at the radiator.
She lights this guy on fire, and then she's like cowering in the corner.
She's wearing a blanket. So yeah, she lights him on fire, and eventually it spreads and lights her on fire.
But don't worry, because it's this movie. They don't stop at both the people being on fire in the room.
There was clearly a billion things in the room marked radioactive. And boy, oh boy, it pays off.
The whole room fucking explodes. Like, the door flies off the hinge. They just fucking explode the entire room. and the two friends get out, and they start running again. And then is this where the guy kills the doctor?
We see another like scene. We see like the doctor performing like an operation on somebody, and he takes a fucking like thing
a stone
out of
like, someone's brain. One.
And yeah, he's like done with that. And
then the guy comes in, and he tells all the nurses to leave. He tells the other doctor to take the nurses to safety.
To safety, which
doesn't work at all.
There's no safety here, sir.
So the doctor's like, you understand, I had to do... Like, I'm advancing science by neurodivergent, like, shit. Like, just...
But they're melting down.
Some fucking, like, scientifical medical gobbledygook that they just concocted on
He's
script.
Saying, like, you know, they're all melting down. There's hundreds of them, and then there's hundreds that haven't even started to melt
down. There's lying dormant. They need me to stop them.
Only I can help them, and of course, like, he just
stabs the fucking doctor multiple times.
He stabs him to death, and then we see, like...
Well, this is also where the friends are, like, grappling, because the guy is feeling guilty that he killed the fucking woman in the room by kabooming her. By fucking... kabooming her. And she's like, it's not your fault.
I mean, yeah, it's not technically
it's not
fault.
your fault, but you did lock her in a tiny room with a bunch of radioactive substances, so...
You know, how could he have known that there was a monster in the room?
I mean, he did see all the radioactive substances, I'm sure, so...
I'm sure he did, but, you know, he didn't know that there was a dude just sneakily waiting there.
I don't know why the dude was in that small room, by the way. They never explain anything.
Why would you need an explanation?
You don't.
It's a movie.
So...
Because shit happens. Shit has to happen.
So they finally meet up with the other guy, and he's like kind of gone fucking wackadoodle again.
Well, they don't.
No, sorry, no. The fucking goon guy
stabs. He kills him with an axe.
He comes in the hallway and like kills the one friend with the axe, and starts attacking the woman. And then like the guy comes and like pushes him off, and for no reason we get this weird like Looney Tunes thing where it's like, "I'll get you someday," and then like
get you.
It's like this weird like where it like
circle.
Closes like the circle, like it's a circle fade, but it fades on his face.
And then
for no reason, like it's just like fucking like Looney Tunes shit. Like, "I'll get you someday."
Yeah, well, don't forget he says that exact same thing like at least 3 times in the movie.
Yeah,
he says like, I'll get you all," and yeah, he says it again, and then they're driving, and the woman's like freaking out, and she's like, "We have to leave," and the guy's like,
smiling and like
laughing and saying no, and then they drive up to a fucking like.
Well, he stops. I don't know if there was a reason for this. Again, why do you need reason in this movie? But he just stops at this crash
with all these bodies,
and
he's like, "No, don't stop," and he's like,
"We don't need to stop. We're free. We need to get out of here.
It's over." And he's like, "It hasn't even started."
And he like runs over to the fucking like fire and just starts staring at it and crying.
He starts crying, and then he starts laughing, and then he hears like zapping,
and he like looks up, and there's this dead like electrician on this fucking pole,
just hanging there. And then the fucking thing explodes, and like a power line drops down and kills him.
It kills the dude, and then our main girl gets out of the car and starts running. Fucking credits.
End credits?
Like, that's the fucking movie.
That's the film.
Oh my god. Oh my god. This was fucking wild.
Wrap your brain around that.
Like,
what do you say?
I don't know. Like, that's it. Like, I don't know how else to fucking just... There's no exposition. Nothing. They don't explain, like, why the doctor was doing this stuff. They don't...
Immortality.
Well, I get it, but what was he doing?
He was...
Because he was obviously fucking it up.
So, again, like, the thing that I get, and this is, like, you have to, like, really think about this shit. The impression I get is that he was putting this thing into their like brains, and it was like prolonging their lifespan, but
But it was like unstable.
That's why you see the guy's fucking brain explode, is because eventually it just...
Okay.
It's like they melt down. I mean, he literally says, like, it's like... I mean, listen, you love Godzilla, Will.
Yeah.
It's like in Godzilla versus Destroyer, when Godzilla melts down.
That's fair.
It's like that.
He goes radioactive. Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, you can extend the lifespan, but there's major consequences to it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean...
Again, this is not... None of this is explained, but I think it's one of those things where if you just... you can piece it together enough.
I get how he was trying to like go for immortality and stuff. I don't really fully understand what happened with the main dude.
I don't either.
It was like some like hypnotizing shit. Well, no, it wasn't hypnotized. He was like a sleeper agent, and then wasn't anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's the thing is like I think it's like.
Well, and I get he was trying to have the kid kill his parents because the dad was stopping him from doing his experiments. So I kind of get why it happened. I just don't they didn't really explain anything around it.
No. The only thing I can kind of think is that like the implication is that he was at the end of the film in his process of slowly melting down, so to speak, because he's basically losing his fucking mind.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I get from
it. And he gets Kurzapped. But yeah, that's Death Warmed Up. Really quick movie, like hour and 18 minutes.
Only an hour and 18 minutes.
We watched it on Tubi?
Yes, it's on Tubi.
Okay. On Tubi. Really quick movie. I mean, it's more like a TV special, like length. So, like,
which is fine.
No, it's fine. I mean, it tells the story well enough, and that, I mean, what little story there is. But you just watch it for the insanity. You don't watch a movie like this for plot or like anything like that. It's just an entertaining, weird fucking movie with lots of violence.
I would say like 20 minutes into this, you'll either get on the wavelength or you won't.
Yeah, I liked it. Like we talk about like fucking lizard brain movies, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, it just fucking turn your brain off and enjoy.
You just have to accept the fact that this is going to be just style.
Well, enjoy this just weird shit
it's
happening
vibes,
on screen. Yeah, it's just vibes. It's just fucking weird fucking bullshit vibes that are great.
Yeah, it's not, do not expect to be blown away by how deep it is. Trust me.
Do expect to be blown away by the camera work and the effects. Yes. Because those were really good.
I would love to see more of that.
They did a great job, and I would argue the sets are pretty cool. They're just cool to look at. They make no sense to the fucking story, but that's the thing. I'm trying to explain for like people who normies who don't have a fucking lizard brain and like can't like turn their brain off to enjoy movies. Like it's just the sets look so fucking cool. Like everything looks cool on screen, but it makes almost no sense.
That's fine.
But it doesn't need to.
It's just
that's
like,
the point. Just let people enjoy it.
It's like those 90s survival horror games like Resident Evil where, I don't give a fuck if it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, the plot, like if you really think about it, the plots are kind of dumb.
I don't care.
But it's a fun game and
it's got vibes.
Got horror vibes and it's great.
It's got vibes and insanity.
Yeah.
That's all I needed.
Sometimes that's all you need. And that's exactly what I needed tonight. So Death Warmed Up did that for me. So if you enjoy that kind of movie and kind of insanity,
especially after Rattlers.
Oh god, yeah. Where you don't have to really think about it, you just fucking turn your brain off, enjoy the fucking movie. Just
take it in.
Like if you like that kind of shit, this is definitely like I would recommend this for people who have a lizard brain like we do. Like like a goop brain.
If only to see like the visuals.
Hey, even if you hate it, it's only an hour and 18 minutes. It's not like it's gonna like waste your fucking time.
It's nothing.
It's like 2 episodes of a show. Like just fucking you can do it.
You can do it.
But Shitty to Pretty, I think I'm gonna go pretty high just on sheer entertainment value. I think I'm gonna go an 8.
Fuck you.
You're doing an 8 too? God damn! Do we ever fucking disagree on this shit?
As soon as the film ended, I knew I was going to give this an 8.
Same.
Because It's not a 10 or a 9 because it doesn't have like the substance, and there are bits of it that I wish had just a teeny bit of logic.
Well, that's the thing for me too. It's like I think to get a 10, you need a pretty strong plot too.
Like if we at least had a resolution to the whole thing with the fucking goon from the bus, I probably would have given this like a 9.
Yeah, not some weird cartoon Looney Tune shit.
But the fact that he just like says like I'll get you all, and then it Looney Tunes out, it's just kind of like
it made no sense, and that really confused me. But like, I don't know if they were trying to set it up for a sequel. It seemed like it, but I don't know.
I was gonna. Well, I mean, with the way it ends, it's like hard to imagine that. Because dude dies.
But just, hey, David Blythe, if you're listening to this, I doubt you are. I don't even know if you're...
I don't even know if he's alive
You're above ground. But if you are, if you make a sequel, please call it Death Warmed Up Again.
Fuck off.
Please call it that. But yeah, if you want just a stupid fucking, like, dumbass, like, lizard brain... shit like sci-fi horror movie, this is right up your alley.
Yeah. If you want to see like something that just looks like somebody's nightmare captured on camera, this is for you.
Yeah, it's just fun. I don't know, like I enjoyed it a lot. And again, I got to give a shout out to like the camera work, and it's a well-made film. It's just fucking dumb.
And sometimes
but that's what you need. I mean, you just need a well-made dumb movie.
Sometimes that's what you need. Sometimes you just want to, you watch some garbage like Rattlers, and you just want to see something fun.
Exactly. And that's what you get with Death Warmed Up. Watch it on Tubi, or, wherever if you get it for other means, whatever. But, yeah, so that's Death Warmed Up. I don't know if I have anything else to say.
I don't.
Yeah.
I
think that's it. For They Mostly Come Out at Night. This has been Will.
This has been Alex.
And we will talk to you all later.
Bye.
Apparently, I think George Miller and fucking George Romero are interchangeable.
You need to get your Georges in check.
Run a movie podcast and I can't get the fucking directors right.
I don't even know my directors.
What the fuck?